Well, Jeff, practice number 5, I believe, today. You learn anything new about your guys?
We got after good again. It's a physical practice, and we went a pretty long time again. And we got lost some more guys, again, just beat up, nothing serious. But we got pretty thin on defense, so we'll have to probably reevaluate what we're going to do Saturday for the scrimmage.
We were just talking to Cyrus. How have you kind of seen him grow from when he first arrived on campus till now?
Cyrus has always been different. He's got a great family, got a great grandmother. That he just comes from good people, comes from a really good program. When we were recruiting him, it was very ironic. I'd just gotten hired, and we got him to come on as official. And his dad played at A&M in the 90s, and I actually coached a player at A&M in the 90s. I'd coached, at Jacksonville, Texas, named Richard Whitaker, and his father just asked me randomly. He's like, "Do you know Richard Whitaker? He played with me." And I'm like, I FaceTimed Richard on the phone immediately. There's probably, I'm close to all my guys, but literally in my entire history, there might not be a player that, I've done more for than Richard Whitaker. And we're extremely close to this day. And so Richard and Cyrus's father FaceTimed right during the official visit. And I couldn't have had a more perfect walk-up for a layup to get a kid to come here. And Cyrus is just different. He's very mature. He's very intelligent. He's a trusting person because he comes from a trusting family. He really trusts me and trusts our staff. And he's also a very good football player. And that makes it even better.
What makes him kind of a leader in that group that the other players respond to him even without, crazy production or a lot of starts to this point in his career?
There's only 2 requirements I put on my leaders. You've got to be able to communicate. Like people say they're silent leaders and lead by example, but, I'm not big into that. I like my guys to be able to articulate and communicate with each other. So Cyrus is very good at communication. And number 2, you got to want to be a leader. Some guys just don't want to be a leader. So I don't make those guys lead. We don't do that. He wants to do it. So if you can communicate and you want to be a leader, that means you're going to listen to me and all my old man stuff, and we're going to teach and read and learn how to be a leader. And Cyrus wants to do all those things.
He was just telling us about the situation with his irregular heartbeat. Is that something you guys have to manage as a staff, or how did that come on your radar?
Yeah, every day. Well, we knew. So it's something we've dealt with. We've had it since day one.
Yeah, that's real life stuff. How do you as a leader, manage that side of it when, a player is dealing with something like that and then asked to be required to put some stress into the situation? There's
nothing to manage because football is secondary. Life is what matters most. It's like Brandon was crushed. He had to go to Brandon Brown's grandfather passed away, and he has to go be at the funeral. He's just devastated. He had to miss practice, and it can't even be a consideration. It just can't be. That's someone's baby. That's someone's child, right? And it is some of the unintended consequences of what's happened with collegiate sports and professional sports, this win at all costs mentality. Somehow the kid's been forgotten about. And, I've been blessed in my career that I've never lost sight of that. And whenever I've been tempted, you go back to who you really are as a human. You got to ask yourself who you really about. So we got to have other guys ready to play. It's also one of the reasons we rotate a ton of kids, because I understand that injuries are part of the game. Stuff happens, life happens, and we got to have a lot of kids ready to go.
Jeff, you mentioned a scrimmage on Saturday. What are you hoping to see from you guys?
We just went over that. We've got, I'd say 2/3 of our team that's played a lot of football. Can those guys handle boredom? Can they handle going to the next level? Can they really handle becoming a master of their task? The old 10,000 hour rule I always talk about, time on task. That next group of guys right behind them, who's the left tackle? Who is the will? Who's that corner going to be? Who's the running back? Right? Who's the kicker? We got real questions. Who are the backups? Because Dom Pasucci came back as a backup last year. Jalen came back as a backup for us last year. We lost some really good backups too, not just starters. So those are the questions that have to be answered. And it's why it's fun to coach. It's why it's fun to be here. It's a great job. And it's a blessing. 32nd year, and still a blessing to try to figure all this stuff out.
I mean, in that regard, I mean, I'm sure you've probably been asked this, but how many jobs are won and lost right now?
Won and lost in a day, obviously.
I mean, colloquially in the spring.
Yeah, it's always, we're always taking, like I had somebody ask me yesterday, do I think that pro days are valuable anymore at the person's campus when they've already had so many other stuff? They're all pieces of your decision, right? And you just hope with enough time you can make the right decision. But I've done this long enough that you work your tail off, spring, summer, fall camp, you make a choice on a kid and you go, what the heck was I thinking? This other guy's better. And y'all are probably in the stands going, what the heck is he thinking? This guy's better. And sometimes, it just takes time. And you don't know when the light clicks for that young man. And if it was a science, everybody would be good at it. There's no science. There's a lot of this is just blind luck. I know y'all don't want to hear that. A feel you get from doing this a long time. And, so the scrimmage will be an evaluation piece of the puzzle. But at the end of the day, when you go out there, like I told y'all the last time, you don't want to be still figuring this out, Houston, Army, and Texas. You hope you got it right now so you can evolve that kid when you get to conference play, that he's ready to take that next step. You don't want to still be changing, which is a lot of times what the media wants, is just keep changing, thinking something magic is going to show up. And it's time on task, no different than y'all's job. The more you keep doing it, the better you get at it.
We talked to Brandon Brown the other day. He's got a new nickname of Mini Bowl. Did you give him that one?
I did not give him that one. I've called him Young Bull, Mini Bull. I like that, though. I do like that. I gave him Thud because, the very first day here, he went live on Sincere McCormick, and I blew his knee out. So we've called him Thud ever since to remind him what Thud means. There's live, there's Thud, and there's tag, Brandon. So, Brown's, he's a great young man. He's a lot like Cyrus. He has a ability to communicate. He wants to lead. And he's a very good player as well. We missed him today. We're in prayer for his grandfather and him and their family right now. It's been tough on him.
Are there similarities with him and Jalen Haynes, both from last year?
And I imagine that's where the little Mini Bull came from. I've called him Young Bull, but yeah, they're old souls. People look up to them. They just have an unbelievable calming effect on the room, and they're not too crazy vocal, but they're vocal enough. They like I've said before, E.F. Hutton, when they speak, people listen.
I got the reference.
Yeah. Thank you. Anybody else? Thank y'all, man.
Thanks,